I'm waiting for it to start. Okay, we've seen it. Um, so yeah, what's up, everyone? This is gameplay. Oh, such a cringe intro. Okay, stop, everyone. Gameplayer episode 61 from an unusual location, mainly Lebanon, where I live right now on vacation. Just got engaged, so there is that. That happened. Um, but yeah, if you guys experience any, you know, weird sound and stuff like that, I'll try to fix it because I'm not on my usual with my usual setup. But let's get the show starting. Give me a second. I'm gonna tweet it out. And hey, do you think? How are you, man? What you been playing?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Right now, um, I've been playing Fire Emblem Engage. Um, Picked that up launch day. Um, it's been great so far. I like the current quirk they added to it. Each iteration always has like its kind of its own thing or its own unique twist to it. In this case, engage being the emblem rings that you engage with or that you um, basically combine your character with in order to become more powerful. So that's been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying that a ton. And then I started um, Dead Space last night with um, with Morgan, Priscilla, and Kay. We were all playing. Yeah, that's been obviously fun. I've had a lot of fun with that game. It's updated.
Dead Space?
Yeah, yeah. The remake is updated tremendously. To the point where like some of the stuff, like I mean, I remember the general game, but like it still feels like a new game to me.
Mm,
Despite me, I've actually beaten the original 3 times on impossible. I did it for two
mm,
other people. So for me to have beaten the other game on 3 times on impossible and still kind of like feeling lost on this, like it's kind of
mm.
crazy. But when you look back, the original, I actually have the original platinum all the way back from December 7th, 2007. It
Damn.
is my second ever
That's
platinum
a
on
while,
PlayStation.
eh?
Yep. Yeah, it was almost my first platinum.
After it. Okay, after it, have you ever went back to it or no?
Nah, not since then.
So it's
It's just
understandable that you're lost. You're like you're experiencing it all over again.
yeah. I mean, other than the 3 times I beat it originally, or I beat it more than 3 times, but the 3 times I played on impossible. But like when you understand what it takes to play this game on impossible, like like you have to. It's not necessarily about you being good so much as it about you knowing what is about to happen because you like need to be like pre-ready for everything because
Mm,
he really can't take any hits in impossible. And
mm,
in at least unless they changed it in this one, you only had 3 saves. So like if you're walking in a room and there's two in front of you, one to the left, like you need to know like how far are they, can I delay, shoot the one to the left first, then focus on the ones in front of me. Then on top of that, you have to kind of focus your weapon use so that you're not spread out too much as far as different weapons, so that you're picking up ammo constantly for the weapons you do have and not a bunch of weapons you don't want to use, like stuff like that. It gets pretty interesting.
mm.
But yeah, man, it looks crazy. You can see
So
on
how
the screen Priscilla's actually playing right now. um, this is her live gameplay she's playing at the moment.
nice?
Yeah, so
How's Fire
you said how is what?
Fire Emblem?
I mean, the Fire Emblem's been amazing. So I mean, I've always really loved Fire Emblem. So
Mm,
the tactics are there. The much better animation quality. Them focusing more on making the skills, I guess, more pronounced. And then they flushed out the class system a lot more. more akin to what Fire Emblem is used to, rather than the really sloppy one that they just kind of threw in Three Houses. So yeah, both of them are really good, and having a lot of fun with them. So I'll probably finish Dead Space here in a little bit myself, and then jump right back into Fire Emblem. I've been kind of going back and forth, but yeah, those are the two main ones. I thought about playing the Rush game like we were talking about before, but I just don't have the time. Nor does it look like it's a genre that I really care for. I think I think the um, I think the art style on it looks great and everything. And like I said, I do have access to it. I just uh, I don't really care to spend the time playing it right now. But yeah, that's where
Uh,
I'm at.
okay. Um, Give me a second. I need to make sure that I don't hear you double.
Well, I mean, if you have the stream open, you want to turn it down.
No, no. But that's the thing, though. My fear is my mic is gonna pick your audio because I don't
No
have
one's.
any.
That's not
But
happening.
okay, it's not happening. Cool.
No.
Then I don't know how laptop works. Then, okay, great, glad. Okay, glad to have you here. How are you, lady? And what you been playing?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm playing Dead Space. It's it looks really good. Um, and like within the first 10 minutes, I was already saying, okay, this is better than Callisto. And, like, I think the only
Oh
thing
yeah, of
Callisto
course.
might
Oh
have
yeah,
Dead
oh
Space
yeah.
beat is the graphics, obviously. Like Callisto looks really good. I think that's the only edge it might have on Dead Space, but Dead Space still looks absolutely incredible. Um, they they do an amazing job with their sound design and building suspense through the music. And like sometimes the music be going crazy, and I'm like, okay, it needs to calm down because because it starts to like mess with you like because like you're in a part where okay, I'm good, I've cleared this out, but then the music ramps up and it just does something to you kind of psychologically to like make you physically tense up even though, mentally you're like I'm good. They do a really good job doing that.
Yeah, they do.
Mm. So, is it fair to say EA have another hit on their hand?
I mean, it was a hit when the first one came out. So, I mean, if
Well,
this
yeah, they
wasn't a
could have
hit,
either
I
finished
would just say it was a
up.
failure.
I have a
Like it's
question.
not it's
Any
not new, it's
new?
just a remake.
I was yeah. I heard they add a new content to it, or not true?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't it's been a very very long time since I've played the original 3. So,
Mm,
like as I'm playing as I'm playing the remake, like Nate was saying, it kind of feels like there's a lot to where I'm still like it almost feels like I'm playing it for the first time almost. Like there's
Yeah.
definitely
mm,
parts where I'm like, oh, I remember this part of the game. I remember this specific section. This looks
okay,
very familiar, but it's still honestly, it's been so long that if they added something like super
you're not
new,
gonna
it would
pick
have
it
to
up.
like stand out
Understand? I
like a lot.
Yeah, I understand. I you
So to answer
actually
your
need to
question,
see.
they did add new stuff. It
They
it
But
did,
it
yeah,
eh?
does yeah, it doesn't break the game. They didn't add like new enemies or something. They just added
Oh,
more. They added more like more pathways for the weapons, stuff like that. So like the plasma cutter can now do like damage over time and some other stuff that it never used to be able to do.
yeah.
So it doesn't break the game basically,
yeah.
and I'm actually glad they didn't do something silly like
Wait,
add
can you
other types.
can you repeat that? Can you repeat that? Cause you disappeared, or I did.
Yeah, it's probably you, but no, I
It's
said
you. I
that.
heard.
Yeah, I said that they added different or extended pathways for the weapons. So now
Okay.
weapons can do things that they might not have done before, added effects
Mm.
like damage over time on the plasma cutter, extra capacity, stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
they added stuff like that, but they didn't break the game. Nothing they added breaks the game.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is just way more detailed. But like I said, I'm glad they didn't do something like add different enemies because that would, taint the fact that it's a remake. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything
Yeah.
is just really well updated to the point where, like she said, like yeah, some rooms you'll get into. Like I went in one last night and I was like, oh, I'm about to lose air in this room and I'm about to get attacked because I
Yeah.
remembered that room heavily, and that's exactly what
Mm-hmm.
happened. So it's like I didn't forget everything, but it's like everything is so much more detailed and just so much more intricate looking that like certain places that might have been more simple looking in the previous game now are just so much more detailed. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you'll run in there and then you're like, you'll get to certain spots like she said, and then you're like, oh, I remember this, but then you're like, oh, I just went through 17 corridors and I don't remember none of that, so it's like
Right.
yeah.
How is the dual sense?
Yeah, it's strong. They went all
It's
out with
wrong,
that.
eh?
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually part of the thing I actually talked about with them, because Priscilla was asking me if I was gonna go for the impossible playthrough, and I said I'd probably have to turn off the haptics because that's part of what throws me off. They use it also as part of like the scare tactics.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if there's a really loud noise, your controller might shake. But the problem with that is obviously if you're trying to shoot something and your
Mm-hmm.
controller's shaking all to hell, you know it'll it'll go pretty crazy. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I mean, it's great. It's great as far as immersion goes.
Gotcha, 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 gotcha. Zarek, my man,
No,
how
hold
are
on.
you, dude?
Wait, hold on.
Sorry,
That's not all
what
Kay's
is going
playing.
on? Was
No,
he disappeared? Sorry.
no. Kay's playing something else too. Go ahead, Kay.
What else am I playing?
Weren't you playing It Takes Two?
Yeah, yeah, I was playing It Takes Two.
There you
Yeah, I
go.
was also playing that.
Oh, that
Yeah.
dope. I apologize, Kay.
Kay
You
apparently
know,
forgot too.
Who are you playing
I'm used to this kind of treatment, Omar.
with?
In
Oh,
fact, it's
yeah.
it's
Who are you
actually
playing
it's
with?
it's to a point to where when you ask when like you're asking for forgiveness and you're apologizing, it's actually
Uh,
more insulting.
okay.
Oh
Okay.
man,
Who are you playing with?
I ju- he said, "Who are you
I'm
playing with,
genuinely
Kay?"
curious. Who are you
You
playing
can
with?
play. So,
Oh wait, is she? Oh,
yeah.
she's at the window. She's playing. I think she's playing with Audrey though. So
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's an amazing
Thank you very
game
much. I'm
with.
picking up steak.
No, he was just asking who you were playing with.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, she is outside. Oh, I forgot.
another friend online, but
Oh, okay.
since they haven't
That,
played it, but Audrey did play for a little bit. She took over.
mm, it's a great game, eh?
Yeah, I honestly, that's what I voted for Game of the Year when it won
Yeah,
Game
me
of the
too.
Year. That's the
Me
game I
too.
voted for.
Me too. I was not disappointed for it winning Game of the Year. It was deserved. I forgot what other games came out. I think Returnal was part of it as
Yeah,
well.
Returnal.
It
I think
was, yeah.
was it Ratchet and Clank? Did Ratchet and Clank come out that same year? And then
Mm,
also Resident Evil Village came out that year too.
yeah, it was a crazy, but for It Take Two to win it deserved. I loved it.
I agree. The person I'm playing with, we get to the squirrel part with the
Mm-hmm.
wasp, and they're on the I let them be May so that they could fight the squirrel because I knew that that part gets to fight them. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'm driving the plane and they're doing like all Street Fighter like
Mm-hmm.
squirrel style, and like they're like, oh, I see why this game won Game of the Year. This is
Yeah,
amazing. Like they couldn't get over how incredible the game was.
shout out to Weeb for having playing it with me. I had a blast with this one. Anything else you're playing? No, I said Weeb. But I asked you, okay, anything else you're playing?
Oh no, that's it. I know that when Dead Space is done, I'm getting Audrey and my brother the new SpongeBob game that comes out
Uh,
the 31st, I think. So I'll probably be playing a little bit of that with them before I have to leave.
gotcha.
Um, yeah,
Do
but
you have an interest in Forspoken?
I played the demo, and it's just it it wasn't for me. Like it's just not my kind of game.
I got you.
Um,
Apparently, the demo
yeah.
didn't do it justice, so be on the lookout for it. Maybe it is something for you later on.
Um, I I just didn't care for. I think the parkour was fun, like the mechanic itself was fun, but I, as I'm going through the demo, I just I I didn't really care for it being
Gotcha.
I just like
It,
I
was
know I
a
had to
cup of
jump
tea.
around and like do all like fight all the enemies like that. I mean, like I know there's other ways to do it. Like I just didn't it just didn't vibe with me. Like
Yeah,
I just
I invite you. Okay, I got you.
and then
Um,
like the spells and stuff, like I know that like once you learn it, like I'm sure it's absolutely
mhm,
fine. But like I just like I felt like it was overcomplicated. Like it was super
mm,
complex and I personally don't care for super like in-depth complex
mhm,
gameplay mechanic systems. Like I'm just not that kind of person. Like I can
gotcha.
appreciate it for what it is, you know, but it's just not for me.
What if I
Gotcha.
said that?
Yeah.
What if I said is that it's not that hard? It's not really complicated. At first, because I played the demo, and I was like, man, this is complicated as hell. Like, because I didn't understand the controls. Maybe because there's the different controls that it's something brand new that we're not used to yet. And so
Right.
oh, I took I, so I took advantage of that, and I was like, man, I was like, I can't get used to this. Then I give it a try, another go to it, and I was like, oh, that's how you do this. Oh, okay. And I just knew like I was like, okay, this game is really fun. I was like, man. So I did buy the game. I did have it, and I
Yeah.
have to say, it's a different outcome from the demo. It's a totally different outcome. You could do the button mapping. You could change the buttons. You could change all that. You could do
Oh, that's
all
nice.
that stuff. So the accessibility is really good, and so it's a big changer from the demo. I
Yeah,
was like,
I
bro,
don't think I don't I honestly I don't think K's writing it off entirely. I just think more
yeah,
so it's like a wait on a sale for K,
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
she'll kind of be like, all right, let's see how big of a difference this is, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, I
yeah,
mean
Yeah.
that's a fair point because like I'm kind of at that
Mhm.
point myself, but that's because I'm playing enough right now that I'm
mm,
like I don't really want to.
You don't need it.
Yeah, I don't need it. Like, so it's like a lot of people like for Spoken was that like full stop game, kind of like it will be for me, Morgan, Kay, and Fox. When Hogwarts comes out, we're all there
yeah,
like launch night,
Oh yeah.
no exception. So like that's our full stop game. So a lot of people for Spoken was that like, oh, it's launching, I'm going in. Like for me right now, that was really Fire Emblem. So that's why I said. And then for a lot of us right now, the rest of us we're all playing Dead Space. So it's like I think
Mhm.
it's just a matter of a crowded window, and
Yep.
like a little uncertainty. And it's like hey, why not? Games go on sale pretty quickly. I'll pick it up at like $29.99 and call it a buck. So yeah,
Yep.
I think
Yeah.
that's really just what it is.
Fair point.
Right. Cause yeah,
my
cause like
opinion is
you have
cool.
Dead, cause like what Forspoken had like it like came out like the 24th. That's super close to Dead Space.
Yep,
Dead Space is
Yeah.
extremely.
definitely the priority for me, And then like a week later, like almost a week later, you get Hogwarts coming out. Um, and then in March I have Resident Evil 4 remake coming out. Like there's like a games that I want for every month so far that's coming
Yeah.
out. So
I
Hmm.
feel you. Oh, anything else? Okay.
Oh yeah, then I think Heart comes out also in February. I was
Yep.
interested in
Yeah,
that.
Atomic Heart is
And
coming
Um,
as
then
well.
there is also Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, it's a crazy month.
And of course,
yeah.
Like a Dragon Ishin. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
I actually
Yep,
forgot. I
yep.
forgot that was even coming out at that time. So I
the
keep telling people that so much is coming out that like
yeah,
I can't remember off the
Queen
top of my head
gonna
everything
go
that's coming.
gonna
Yeah,
be
like I had to
prioritized.
make a list. I had to make a list of all the games that I want that are coming out with the dates next to them because like there's
Mhm.
Oh,
literally so many. It's hard to keep track of them.
Yeah.
I, I, I actually put him in my calendar.
Oh man, not the calendar.
Yeah.
He's going all out.
Mhm.
Zarek, what
Yeah.
about you? You been playing?
I've been playing Forspoken and Final Fantasy 12, Zodiac Age, going back and forth with those two. Um, Zodiac, I got Vaughn to level 60. Um, and so once that, I got one of the most powerful weapons in the game. That was the Kokata or something like that weapon. I stole it from an enemy or whatever, and so I got armor. That's a really good armor I stole from another enemy through the trials. Um, and, and man, I can tell you, man, I got to Vaughn, Fran and Barthier. Oh, they automatically go to level 61. And I was like, man. So I put some hours into it already. I put like maybe 18 hours, 19 hours into it. And I got the character to level 60. Um, bro, for spoken, man, I put the hours into that game, man. I ain't get, I didn't get past the boss yet. One of the main bosses. But I'm taking my time with it, so I'm exploring. It's a huge area to explore, and they got a lot of enemies in the area. So level 18, level 18 with the character. It's a fun game. Oh, level 20. I'm level 20.
Brett,
Um,
can I ask you a question about the game?
yeah,
No, you go ahead,
Yeah,
Kay.
so you've been playing it, right? And so like you got,
yeah,
you've played quite a bit, right?
yeah,
So one of a lot of people that are being turned off from the game, I would say one of the biggest complaints is people talking about the dialogue between
Um,
Prey and the Cuff, right?
yeah,
So, and we've seen a couple of people post examples of some of that dialogue, right?
yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
but just because something has, a couple of dialogue exchanges, here and there doesn't mean the whole game has
Right.
that dialogue, right? Like
Right.
that could just be people cherry picking the worst bits of it. So
I
my
will
question is,
give.
Omar, I'm talking. Oh my gosh.
Well, what
Let
he's
me
trying
Okay.
to say is
let
that
me finish.
he made that a topic is what he was trying to say.
Yeah, I won't say, but
Oh,
we're gonna talk about it as a
oh,
process.
well, too bad.
That's
We're
why
discussing.
you're
We're
gonna go
discussing it
take your
now.
time. That's why.
Yeah, that's all
We're
good.
discussing.
Um,
Oh, okay. Then then I'll just make it a simple like so it's not like the whole topic. Just the one question. Yes or no. Um,
Mm-hmm.
is is the dialogue like that throughout the whole entire game? Is it that um just
That
that
bad.
I don't know what the right word would be.
over
Like,
the top.
yeah. Like, is
Yeah.
it that excessive?
No, it's not. It's not excessive. I mean, they got them talking back and forth, but it's like a conversation they're just trying to understand because she's not used to that because that's the first time ever to have powers and stuff, and then she could do stuff, and so it's not cringy. None of that stuff is cringy. It's just people over exaggerate the whole this game like it's really that bad. It's like no, it's not that bad. If you see what's going on, is that she don't understand what's going on. She's like she's in a way she's in a world that she never known of. And so her talking to cuffs and stuff, it's like
Well, yeah, but
it's
she doesn't do it all the time, like feeling
no,
completely lost. Yeah, because
no,
that's what everybody keeps showing is what she was saying. Like, so you feel like it's an appropriate amount that you feel like a person would be, and it's not constantly like that.
yeah,
Gotcha.
it's not like that, dude.
I don't
Uh,
think it's the issue of them talking. I think their issue they have an issue with is the dialogue.
Oh
They
no,
find it
but
too.
no, that's what I'm talking about. Them constantly doing that though. People
yeah,
can be disoriented. Like I mean, everybody's seen Jurassic Park at some point. People freak the hell out, but eventually you're not freaking out because if that's all you did, you'd be dead. Like you
right.
eventually have to
Yeah.
get over that shit and orient yourself. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
what people are curious about because obviously people haven't seen later. They just keep seeing her freaking out, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like which is
Oh,
understandable.
at some point, yeah, it could become normal for you. Cause
Yeah,
yeah, I got you on that end. Yeah.
yeah.
How is the game for you? Is it a
man,
Forspoken?
it's fun. It's a fun game. I have to say that I'm really having fun with it. It's good to I get to explore the entire map, and so when my goal is trying to max her level out to see to see how far to go and do everything, try to do everything in the game before I start the story, start more of the story. Because it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff like from like stats increase, and I don't even get the second ability yet. I don't even have to fire. I don't even have fire yet, and so it's so much to explore. There's so much to do, man. It's like you got a labyrinth, you got like the little boss time attack boss mode where you just fight the boss that you fought already, and you got some like this little den of cave like a beast cave or something down or whatever. So it's much on this game that
Hmm.
uh, I'm having fun with it. You know, I'm not even complaining about the oh no bugs. So far, I didn't get stuck on nothing. No glitches. I haven't experienced no glitches. It's just been it's been A1 with me.
How
It's
is
been
the
A1.
opening? I heard it can be tedious, slow.
Oh, it can be tedious if you allow it. If you allow it to be tedious, but you don't necessarily have to do all this. You don't. You just go straight to the story.
Mm,
But for me, I'm used to open world, so this is
yeah.
my cup of. But for others, then it may be tedious for others. Oh, but from other players, it's just fun. It's a fun game. Stories. I'm a little interested in the story. I still trying to see what this all about. What this game is trying to get me into. But other than that, uh, it just I give it an eight. I give it an eight. To be honest.
Mm. And you're early on, so who knows how the score go either go up or down. Anything else you're playing?
Yeah. And Final Fantasy 12,
Mm.
Zodiac Age. Did it on PS2.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
trying to
I
get.
know, I know all about it. How does it feel for you? Played the OG one,
Yeah,
so then
yeah.
you
I played the OG one.
have recognized the difference between the two.
Oh, a big difference. It's a
A big,
big difference. You got see on the old one, you you don't have you don't have a limit because you could place characters in spots that you could learn them and they gonna be like how can I say have the ability,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and
yeah.
you don't have to worry about anything. So, but this one right here is Zodiac Age. You have to pick a job. You have
Yeah,
to, and so
yeah,
whatever job you it doesn't. Oh, they can't learn no other ability. Like for example, Vaughn. I got Vaughn to learn Cure, right? And I was making him to a knight or whatever. But on this one, you have to be a knight but you can't use magic abilities.
Mm-hmm.
You can't use none of the magic. And so you can learn two abilities, two, and that's it. You can't learn nothing else.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Are you enjoying? Very
Oh
quick.
man, it's good. It's good. I love
Okay.
it.
Great. Weeb, how are you, man? What you been playing?
I'm good. I've been playing a bit of everything lately. Mostly on my Steam Deck, trying to install a lot of games that I totally legally acquired. Um, no, it has been fun to figure out what works, what doesn't work.
Steam Deck
Highly.
Master Race?
Sorry.
Steam Deck Master Race?
Well, I'm getting closer and closer to it because there is not much you can play on it.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been involved in a closed beta of a certain game, but I can't really talk about because of NDA things.
Oh, Weeb making moves. I see you.
Can
Well,
you at least say whether or not that you've enjoyed the beta,
Yeah.
whatever it is?
I don't think I can even say that. We're really strict with the NDA.
Okay. We'll leave it at that then. Anything else you playing?
Other than that, no, I haven't played much else now.
Okay. You finished One Piece?
No, I've played a little bit today, but yeah, I don't know. I might have to put it on hold for a moment and try some other games. I
Uh,
did start Onimusha, the remastered or remade version of one that was released for PlayStation 4.
hmm.
I might get
Oh,
that.
gotcha. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. As for me, very simple. I have not touched a single game so far. I've been in Lebanon, just got engaged, and that's it. No gaming news on my end. But I've been
So you,
keeping
so
myself
you went
up
cold turkey.
what's happening with the world. So that's why we're doing this one. Let's get to the first topic. A leaked early keyword early development for Horizon Online or Horizon multiplayer or whatsoever. I watched it. Um, I'm not a fan of the art style. But what make Horizon so great is the what you call it, the serious art style. They did
Do
it
you
with
think do you think that's what they're gonna do, or do you think that was just kind of like their like placeholder character models?
no. I think they want to distinguish enough between the single player game and multiplayer game that they're gonna go with the what you call it this character model. Not only that, they wanna capture that Fortnite look, which is
Yeah, I was gonna
why
say that they do. From that footage, they look like Fortnite characters.
yeah, which is why you're seeing the way they look like I if you told me that's a Fortnite not clone but like a DLC, I would believe it. It absolutely looks Fortnite, and that's not something what you call it Forbidden West was. Even when Aloy was in Fortnite, it still had her own personality and stuff like that. But with this one, yeah, it's early build, so I'm gonna wait on the final build. But to me, they messed up because they could have easily went the Monster Hunter world with this one. Make it
Yeah.
gritty. Make it make it spectacular. Make it so where you need 10, 15 people to take on a behemoth of a machine, but
I
instead
will
what?
agree with you, Omar, that I don't really care for the whole cartoonish Fortnite, art style. And like you, I would prefer if it actually looked, like what you were just saying, more realistic than cartoony. Yeah. Like I do agree with that, but at the same time, I think I'm definitely gonna wait for the game to actually come out before I pass any real
Oh yeah,
harsh
for sure.
judgment because
Actually,
like what if
should.
it's absolutely incredibly fun and then the art style just kind of like is in the back of your mind and like you just don't care because it's just that fun. So I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
never know.
Gotcha. Zarek, what's your thought?
Mm, I didn't really see anything lately, so I actually I didn't get a chance to see it. The artwork.
Okay, gotcha. Innate.
Yeah, I've only really seen the concept art. Um,
So you haven't watched the gameplay yet?
yeah, I haven't seen. I didn't know there was even any to begin with. All I
There
seen was the
is.
concept art that looked really
We,
cartoony, and I was like, I don't know how
I
I feel
think,
about that.
I think we've shared it on his time, on our time,
I mean, I'm
on
sure I could
our what
find
you
it.
call it. Group.
I was working at the time.
Want me to link you?
Yeah,
Oh, he
you
will
can.
do it. Huh?
You can.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up and send to you. We, you saw it, right?
Yes, I did. No,
So
I
what you thought?
yeah, I don't know if I actually saw the art style as a shown in the concept art, but uh, I just saw it on my phone, so I don't know. Didn't have a close look at it. It looked close to what at least what I saw from yeah what you see in the
Oh, they deleted it.
Yeah,
oh
That
no
explain it. That tweet is no longer there.
oh that
yeah,
no we'll never know. But
Yeah.
yeah, to be fair, if it's if it's a multiplayer only game, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be interested in it
Mm,
anyway.
I would have would okay. So let me ask you this: if it had lore up to wazoo for the main game, and it was gritty, a la Monster Hunter, would you have not been interested?
Well, okay, but Monster Hunter isn't really multiplayer, so
It
but
is
you
playable multiplayer, but I got you.
yeah okay, but if you say that, I look the lore is probably there that they're gonna lean into the lore of the main game, but if they have something like a narrative within the like in the multiplayer, like there were campaigns or something. Look, it also depends on how they're going to present. Is it going to be a full price game? Is it going to be an expansion? Is it going to be free to play? Um, Personally, I'm not that interested in multiplayer games, so it would have to be um, let's say really good, or if no, let's say if you all guys wanna hop into that and yeah, then it could be fun. But at the moment, I don't really have a lot of interest in it. So uh, what I would do want to say, like, yes, I agree with you that going for Fortnite aesthetic isn't exactly appealing at first. But on the other hand, if they're going to go for a certain more cartoony aspect, I can see why they would do that because that will set it apart from the main games, and then you wouldn't have the risk of sort of uh, yeah tainting it. I don't know if that's the right word, but in a way that you could indeed do some things that don't really make sense in the universe of Horizon. So you don't, wouldn't really be bogged down by it be having to be consistent with it. You could do some crazy stuff that doesn't really make any sense in the Horizon universe. So I think that may be also why they might consider giving it a separate aesthetic.
Gotcha. Um. Uh.
It's on the screen, by the way.
So yeah,
So
you're looking at yourself. What's your thought now?
yeah, honestly, if if this is any indication, yeah, I basically have zero interest, to be honest.
Me too.
It,
Sadly,
yeah, it looks
although
like
my question would be the same as for what I asked them.
it just looks like
Wait
a kid's version like of Horizon.
Yeah.
I have zero interest in that. And it's not like people always think it's just specifically the um like the graphical. It's not. It's just it looks very kiddie. That's not why I play, these games.
No.
Like I like the style that Horizon has already and stuff like that.
Yeah. Me too.
Obviously, I know multiplayer takes a different aspect into account, and maybe they'll come out with some cool stuff. Like we've said, we'll see when we cross that bridge. This is obviously very early footage, um, but right now, looking at it, it doesn't look appealing at all. At most, if they had some sort of tower defense aspect to it, kind of like the original PVE for Fortnite, I might be interested in that, like kind of setting up a base and defending against waves, kind of stuff like that. But like right now, I'm not really sure what the premise would be, and if it's ultimately hinging on something like PvP or something, I'd have absolutely no interest in that.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Got you.
Yep.
Okay. Then but for me, I think I already gave my opinion. It They had one job and they might have messed it up with this one. Um, the next topic would be Hogwarts Legacy. A preview came out for this game, and boy, it sounds to me like Game of the Year contender.
Mhm.
Okay, what your thought?
On Hogwarts,
Yep. Did you see
um,
the gameplay?
I I want. I mean, I don't like to watch a lot of gameplay for any game.
Uh huh.
Um, so usually I watch the first couple of trailers
Mm-hmm.
that they put out, and then I usually stay away from everything else after that. Um, like for Dead Space, like I watched the first trailer and I was like, I'm already sold. I don't need to see anymore because like, I like to
Mm-hmm.
go in like with more like just fresher eyes, and I like to experience a lot of things first hand. Like while I have the controller in hand and as I'm experiencing it for the first time. But that's just a personal choice. So I have stayed away. I already knew I wanted to play Hogwarts. I knew I was getting it. And so, like, for me personally, I'm like, I don't need to see anymore. So I haven't seen anymore.
Interesting. So you're gonna be surprised when it comes to the gameplay. I'm not
That's what
gonna
I
say
that's
anything
what I
about it
want.
then.
I do have to go. We're about to eat dinner and whatnot.
Enjoy your food, and you're more than welcome to join back.
Do what?
You're more than welcome to join back.
Yeah. If you guys are still on when we're all done, I'll jump back in.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Later, Kay.
enjoy your food. Link,
There
All
you
right.
go.
feel free to jump in if you want.
Do
Um,
you have any doubt, Kate, that we will still be busy when you're finished eating?
we'll see. Depends the topic.
All
Weeb.
right.
Oh,
What is it? Iron
There's
Nation.
Automation.
oh no.
Honor
Too
Nation.
early for that. We just started, geez.
Training them young.
Um, Fine. You get your automation, I guess. Um, Weeb, what's your thought?
Well, you know that I'm not
Yeah, no,
interested
I
in playing.
know, I know you're not gonna get the game. That's already known. However, have you seen the gameplay?
No, but well, here's the thing, Omar. since I'm not interested in the game at all, I'm not gonna look out for the gameplay.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
nothing you'll show will make me interested. But
Oh,
look, I hope the game is good. I hope that you guys will enjoy it. It's all fine.
gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. There, Nate,
Yeah,
what's your thought?
yeah. I mean, I kind of gave it in that little instance, but yeah, so far zero interest. So
Sorry?
you're talking about the thing still, aren't you?
No, I'm talking about Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, I thought you were still talking about the other thing. What about it though? Like, I mean, I already pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered the deluxe edition. It's all go.
Uh huh. You saw the gameplay?
I've seen all the gameplay. I mean, the game looks great. So, I mean, the gameplay that you were talking about wasn't anything new to me. The 34 minutes they
Mm-hmm.
showed originally pretty much showed a similar aspect. So, I mean, I already know. I mean, it's an open world Western style RPG with grounded in the Hogwarts world. Like, I'm already, like I said, regardless, I'm already sold.
I feel you.
Yeah,
Um, it does it not feel almost like not weird, but like okay, hear me out. When I first heard it, like it sounded impossible to be created. Mostly for reason because magic is very difficult to implement well in video games, especially a pew pew type of magic. And to be so creative with it, like nah, the gameplay that I see
yeah. No, you're
looks
hype about this, the chicken thing.
amazing. Yeah, it absolutely looks amazing. Link, go to general and I will pull you in. Um, it's yeah, this um we have Zelda, of course we have Zelda, we have Final Fantasy 16, and we have much more. But this might actually be a Game of the Year contender.
I mean, it definitely could be. I mean, I got to get my hands on it, see
Me
how
too.
it pans out throughout the length of the campaign and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I mean, but so far everything I've seen about it was enough for me to pre-order it, which says a lot because
Mm-hmm.
I haven't pre-ordered a damn thing in a while. So,
Apparently more than 100 side quests.
which as long as they are good, I'm all good for.
Yeah, me
So,
too.
yeah, that's the important part.
And he left. Okay. Um, the next topic we're gonna talk about is Microsoft stealth dropped High on Rush. Um, I like that idea, but at the same, yeah, okay,
Nobody said anything.
yeah, I like the idea. I truly do, because nothing's better than uh talking about the game and then say, oh yeah, by the way, this game we're dropping it in 1 minute. Go ahead, do your thing, play it. I truly do like that concept. I truly do. It just I gotta give. Okay, so here's the thing. I thought this was created under Microsoft, but it's not. So I'm absolutely not gonna give them credit for it. I'm gonna give Tango credit for it because apparently they've been working on it for 5 years. And the question that have been on my mind the entire time is, was this on PlayStation? Go ahead, Derek. Was it?
Mm, that game was quiet. That game is very quiet.
What do you mean quiet?
It means that I didn't know nothing about this game until now.
No one knew. No one knew. Oh yeah, they found a way to not leak it. That's surprising.
Yeah, that is surprising. So I have to congratulate them, for actually was able to pull it off. But it was just they should have. I don't know. They should have just see how everything goes instead of like secretly leak, meaning secretly drop. I think they should have just had something going for them because not everybody's not gonna buy this game. I mean, it looks good. Don't get me wrong. But I have to congratulate them on that for actually finish the game and actually pulling it out. But other than that, I have no idea about this game. I have none, no
Are you
information.
gonna try it out?
No, no, actually, no. I'm not gonna try it out. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
try it.
Gotcha. Viper, they do care. Stop hating. I'm pretty sure you would play it if it's on PlayStation, right? Um, I know you're joking, Viper, but I celebrate them and come to Okay, interesting. So you wouldn't. Interesting.
I mean, I
Um,
could play it for free, and I'm still not playing it. So I mean, that should tell you plenty.
I don't like Rust. What is Rust? Oh, rhythm games. Okay, I feel you. I feel you. I don't like them either, but apparently this is not punishing one.
Yeah, but
You don't
people say you don't have to play to the beat, but that doesn't make it not part of it. It's still a
know.
part of it. Like gamers are not gonna like no one sat there and goes, "I'm gonna play this game entirely wrong." Oh, this is fun. Because even though it's
I
not
feel you. I
punishing,
feel
you still do more damage, and he does other stuff when you're on rhythm. So it's still a factor that you have to consider in the game if you're gonna play it properly. So I know people were trying to say, "Hey, it's not that big of a deal if you're off beat." Like, yeah, but I mean, it's still a thing. So people are trying to downplay it because they want all these people to try it, um, and not be dissuaded from it because of the rhythm aspect. But it's still very much an aspect. It's just not gonna make you fail the mission. Is
you.
ultimately what they mean. Yeah.
Gotcha. What I like about it
But
is the price.
but
It's for yeah. Go
I
ahead.
still wonder if that's like this. There are rhythm games that don't allow you to continue even if you fail, but then aside from a bad score, it probably will also make it more difficult for you to beat bosses and do a lot of damage and stuff. So it will make it a lot less fun, I would imagine. And that to me is the biggest sort of thing that causes me to sit on the fence on this one because I like what I saw, like the art style, the characters, and all that. Just when they announced it was a rhythm game, like okay, my interest dropped immediately. So I'm not really inclined to make that plunge, and it's not sure, and the game is like not full price, and I could take the risk, but for some reason knowing that you spend money on a game that you may not like, yeah, that's kind of a turn off for me. And I know myself. Like the reason why I never platinum with a Yakuza game is because I could never do those fucking karaoke games because
Yeah.
I really suck at rhythm games. Um, so yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I want to try it, but just the rhythm aspect is the problem. So
How
I
were
either
you?
either would have to
Go ahead.
wait for a discount for this one to try it,
Mhm.
or I don't know, if I'm drunk and decide to subscribe to Game Pass or something.
I mean, it's $1 on Game Pass, so enjoy.
Yeah.
Um, Real talk. How were you with Final Fantasy Rhythm game, the 7 remake?
Uh, God damn, I don't even remember that one. But
The one where you need to lift, what you call it, weight or do push up, and you need to beat that monster of a dude that destroyed our entire, controller.
oh
You
yeah,
played
yeah,
that?
yeah. I think I completed that. So it's not. But yeah, I mean, it's not the entire game, right? So
No, no, no,
that's.
no. But I'm just asking, how was it for you? Was it difficult? Was it easy?
I think that was doable. It was at least not the worst example of
Hmm.
rhythm.
Gotcha. Link, how are you, man? And what you thought?
I'm doing good, man. I just got off of work. So
Welcome
what
home, man.
what's this topic we talking about here?
We're talking now about um, Pine Rush releasing
Uh huh.
what we call it,
There's high
like
fire, high
that,
fire
without
rush.
any
They
leaks and
stealth
stuff like
that
that.
stealth release or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, what your thought on that? And do you believe that there's a PlayStation 5 or 4 version that Microsoft canned?
Well, they said they were working on the game before they were acquired, so I'm sure this was it could have been some type of multi-platform game, um, or one of those kind of passion projects, like kind of like Bleeding Edge, that was not seeing the light of day until Microsoft purchased that studio.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I really don't care about this game, so like it's
Mm,
not. I would never play it. Um,
okay.
even I mean, it's not on my radar. You know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
really feel like I mean there. I don't like cell shaded games too
Mm-hmm.
much. So there's a very select few games with that type of art style that I'll even play, like Zelda. You know, um, but those type of cartoon looking games don't appeal to me. And I see that a lot of their games are having this cartoonish looking art style. So for me, I don't give a damn about that game.
Gotcha, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. As for me, look, again, I don't have any access to anything right now. And knowing me, I would absolutely play it. Why? Because I like gaming. I might suck.
No,
I not
because you
might.
like those games. We all like
I
gaming.
okay. No,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I actually hate rhythm game, but this have action in it.
No, no, no.
If
I'm
it's
saying you
good,
like the rest of it though, that
okay, yeah,
much.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, fair
That's why I
point.
said the phrasing is important when you say it
Yeah,
that way.
yeah, it's fair, it's fair.
Yeah.
Also, what I would do, I would absolutely switch it to Japanese dub.
Why
Like,
not?
nah, we're not doing that. Other than that, shout out to Tango. They might have a hit on their hand. I'm
Yeah,
looking
and
forward.
and and notate, none of us said the game was bad, for the record,
No,
cause
it's just
all all these
overhyped.
Twitter Xbox Warrior wanna be overly pre defensive motherfuckers. Nobody said the game was bad, bro. You could like the game all you want. The game is just not for me, and none of them are gonna change that. Just like I
And
don't
that's
plan to change
okay.
anybody's mind about Fire Emblem. I don't care if they think Fire Emblem
Mm,
is a one. That has nothing to do with me playing it. So a lot of these people need to get over themselves and get over outside of opinions or others' opinions on the games that they allegedly enjoy, because if you really enjoyed it, you wouldn't worry about what other people were thinking.
this is why I
Here's
don't
the
even.
I agree with you, and here's the thing too. Like when I saw that, like I was actually interested in it. Like I said, to the point that they announced what the gameplay actually was, but
Yeah,
like
same.
still, I think this is a W. This is looks like a game that's worth playing, and like just because it's not for me or for you, it doesn't like you could say the same thing for I don't know, like Demon Souls, for example. That's a Soulsborne game. That's not for everyone. Or Returnal, like it's a roguelite or rogue game. That's not for everyone, but it's still a W that your platform offers, that it has that as an exclusive, because it's a good game. It's well received,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's for you, it's going to be great. So and not every game has to be for you or for me, or that's how you offer diverse portfolio for all kinds of gamers. And yes, of course you want to have those titles that are more appealing to a general audience, or what the bots call the PlayStation template, whatever you want to call it. But you need those games, of course, to basically to appeal to the general audience. And they're generally appealing because of a reason, because they don't require a particular you know niche or taste or skill set. But in the end, it's still a W for Microsoft. It's not sort of I don't see this like as a watershed moment, like as something like, oh, now everything is okay, everything is forgiven. No, of course not. But there's still a lot of shit going on there, and this is certainly saving them for the moment, but they still have a lot of issues with the production of their games going forward, like Starfield
Yeah,
possibly
we're gonna
getting.
talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to change that. So, uh,
Hmm.
but again, I'm not going to run a rain on the parade. It's still a nice surprise that Microsoft is dropping this game the way they did.
Hmm. Um. So okay. So I have a question. I'm not a developer. If anyone want to share a note and can share, feel free to do so. Shouldn't this developer have contacted PlayStation and let them know that we're working on a build for your system? Like, and if so, shouldn't there be something for PlayStation to fight for and use it against Microsoft for canning it?
I mean, so part of the thing there's two different things you're arguing there, right? It's not saying that they aren't using this in the court action against them to show that, hey, they clearly removed this game and they were most likely aware of
Mm-hmm.
of Hi-Fi Rush or whatever. But no, they're not going to publicly fight because it's not that big of a deal. Like, let's be real. Like, no one's like, oh my god, I'm gonna go spend $500 tomorrow and get an Xbox because Hi-Fi Rush looks amazing. Like,
No, 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 no.
no.
That's not the focus. The focus should be they can literally absolutely use it against
That's
Microsoft
what I said. That's what I
Overwatch
said. What you're
in
talking about is not
another field.
something you are necessarily going to get it. Everything that's happening in the court, right? The blocking is not going to be a public service announcement. So I'm not saying they're not going to use it. I'm saying you may not know that. So you
Mm,
asking, will they use it, is not something you will necessarily know. They may have
mm-hmm.
used it, but you wouldn't know.
But we wouldn't know. Okay, gotcha, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying yes, they could, and they probably will. Like they mentioned the other Bethesda titles, and it has come up. And the CMA brought it up, but all they can really do is bring it up. It's not there was no if there's no legal binding contract already stating that the game was coming, and it wasn't part of an announced, the game wasn't prior announced, which it wasn't. Then no, they can
Mm-hmm,
simply bring it up, but it's not going to particularly have any legal ramifications. They can just
mm-hmm,
show it just shows precedence. Hey, these people say that they wouldn't do this. Whether they put it on paper or not, and then they turn around and they obviously did the complete opposite. They did a 180 on their case by case basis and all that nonsense they were you know
mm-hmm,
spewing before, and then immediately, obviously, once the deal went through, they were like, "Yeah, fuck PlayStation." Like,
mm-hmm,
like everybody saw that. That was very obvious. It was a very public thing. So it's like it's not like it's something they can hide. But that's why you're, like I said, you're seeing the weird moves from Microsoft in the proceedings now, where they're asking for ridiculous shit like, "Hey, we want to see the entire pipeline of how PlayStation makes video games." They're asking
mm-hmm,
for like ridiculous shit that has nothing to do with even the entire deal at all. Like, so that's what
mm-hmm,
I'm saying. You're seeing this weird stuff because like now it's like, what exactly can I get out of it? Now it's turning into a fight. I forget what they say. Like, basically, the fight's getting dirty, is what's happening.
mm-hmm.
Because Microsoft is losing money the further this goes, and if it ultimately gets blocked, they're still going to have to pay something, and still not get what the fight was about in the first place. So that's why you're seeing it now.
Exactly.
So yeah, that definitely everything is on the table. Everything is being talked about, but like I said, in the court, it's just got to be legally binding to have any real,
Mm-hmm,
effect. But if it's like anything, right? Like if you've ever heard or seen like a court proceeding where they're like, also the defendant murdered my mom. You know what I'm saying? But it's like that's not the proceeding, and it's like the person just yelled that out. That wasn't meant to be presented. That wasn't evidence. The judge will be like, the jury will ignore everything that was said after this. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter if the judge tells the jury to ignore it. The jury still heard it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so that's the
Okay.
importance of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Is because it still becomes a factor once people hear it. People can't unhear what they heard. Like that's the thing. So the judge could say that. So that's what I'm saying. That's why you're seeing all the dirt kind of come out publicly. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I think they'll use it, but not specifically to get hi-fi rush or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Um, Going then now to the next topic, which is going to be. Before I do that, anyone have anything else they want to add to this? What we just talked about?
You.
Okay, then moving forward. Um, Apparently, and the people that suffered through that Microsoft showcase. Hey, sorry to be you guys. I didn't even watch it. Um,
Cowards.
yeah, you did. Sorry to be you guys. I So that showcase happened. They showed some stuff. Congratulations to them. Forza apparently it have ray tracing now. Um, what? So I watched that trailer for Redfall. You can't tell me that joint is ready. Nobody in the right mind would believe that.
I mean, it's an arcane game, and it looks like an arcane game. That's all I can tell you from
Yeah.
that.
It
It's got that arcane
Yo,
sheen on it, where
PlayStation
everything
Pro,
looks
they
slightly
want the
shiny.
PlayStation 3 back. Like, nah. Like, how?
I
When
mean,
you got the.
it looks really basic, and the
No.
fact that they also have like weapons locked to each other and stuff. Like a lot of I hate a lot of that stuff. I'm gonna be honest. Like when you start showing me things that show that my character lacks versatility and is basically stuck in a particular class, like that drives me crazy.
Oh, yeah. Look, we have a blueprint. Yeah? No matter how you slice it or dice it. 3 was bad. I know. Everyone knows. What you call it? Dungeon Keep was okay. I enjoyed it, but Borderland is the blueprint. How you gonna mess it up? How you gonna have the blueprint that's called Borderland and still find a way to mess it up?
I mean, companies do it all the time, so it didn't surprise me.
Dude, you know what crazy is? We have yet to have a legit uh, fast travel system like Borderland 3 to such degree where you can actually fast travel almost anywhere you want. Fast travel locations, including your own car, your own vehicle doesn't need to be a car.
I mean,
That's a
no
crazy.
one has really challenged uh,
Yep,
Borderlands to this day. So,
yep.
I
They
mean,
can. Like the story can be bad, the character can be off, but the gameplay, the core mechanic, the gameplay, it's amazing. You already know, Nate. You already know. Um. So um. So the leaker that leaked High on Rush before it was revealed, he said the following. Give me a second, because I actually have that. What you call it? Bookmarked, because it was very interesting to read. So, here, Starfield and Redfall development in rough shape, according to Hi-Fi Rush leaker. Give it a second. So, Halsey anticipates Bethesda to. Okay, so hero. Hartley. Okay. Hartley anticipates Bethesda titles Starfield and Redfall are rumored to be looking more than a little worse for fear for for where, according to one Reset Era user who confirmed the release of Hi-Fi Rush at yesterday Xbox and Bethesda showcase. Starfield release date could be rushed to June 23. Um, on January 25, user Horn had called the release of Tango Games Works Stealth Drop Xbox Game Pass title just hours before the direct show. We might have another whatchamacallit, what's his name? Uh,
Yeah, you're talking
uh,
about the guy that was actually good at it.
yeah,
The
we might
snitch.
have another. We might have another whatchamacallit. YouTube person that have YouTube access before
Possibly.
anyone else. That's why he was able to do so. According because you're gonna tell me beforehand nobody knew, and then 1 hour before the show, all of a sudden he knows. Yeah, no, it's a somebody. Okay, so according to the leaker, this is the interesting part though. According to the leaker, Microsoft had been looking to blunt loss from its Azure cloud division with development, Redfall being rushed and in rough shape, along with Bethesda apparently being pressured to release Starfield in June 2023 to recoup fiscal year earnings. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that. Give
No, because like I'm gonna tell you, according to every Xbox podcast, Game Pass is the most profitable shit on the fucking planet, and
okay.
it's carrying Microsoft, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all through 2023 for the rest of their lives, and they're all just gonna live on
Okay.
Game Pass.
So talking about uh, Microsoft, shall we? Microsoft for year 2023 quarter two results: gaming revenue down 30%, Xbox content and service down 12%, Xbox hardware revenue down 13%, first party and third party content declined. Game Pass subscribers grew how much? Anyone knows? Um.
3% or
So
something like that.
yeah. Um. Yeah. 30%. Yeah. So there is that. Um. So then you go back to and then you have what's his name? David Jaffe calling Xbox a thinking chip. And he said something very interesting. And I'm mixing two topics together because these go back to the very beginning of what we have been saying. Microsoft lacks quality control. So David Jaffe went ahead and said, why not just throw money at PlayStation uh, people? You're gonna get one and two to come over, especially on the quality control side. Like, what's his name? Sean Layden. Hit him up.
I mean, everybody isn't necessarily gonna leave whatever they're doing. Like, I mean, it sounds like a good idea when you're on the outside looking in, but I mean, these deals have to be curated, and it may not be someone specific for that position. Like I said, it looks a certain way on the outside, but clearly they're struggling to fulfill that role, um, or multiple roles, in fact, because it's not just one person. Especially with the more studios you have, the more capable management and production pipeline management you're going to need. So that's why I said, them going forward and purchasing even more doesn't really help them. And purchasing standalone products doesn't help because, obviously Activision Blizzard is a closed, think of it as a closed ecosystem, right? You can't just start removing parts from it and start telling people to work on other stuff. Like, if you want it to operate the way that it's been operating while which was the entire reason you purchased it. you have to leave those things in place and those people in place in order to keep the production pipeline working properly. So that's like another thing. Like it's just they need to identify where the actual problem is before they can even fix it, right? Like you're talking about, like I said, we talk about a pipeline, right? Well, imagine a pipeline with holes in it. Well, but it's for different reasons. At this point, the bolt is loose. At this point, there's an actual hole. At this point, the rubber seal is bad. Those are three different things you need to fix that pipe. You see what I'm saying? It's not just
And
the one
okay,
person, and
I
that's the
I got
problem.
you on that end. I got you on that end. But we already know one name, which is Matt Booty.
But
Matt
they don't
Booty.
seem to be wanting to get rid of him though. They want to hang on to these people like life or
Yep.
death situations, and these people are just not helping. So it's like
Hey, that's on them.
that. Well, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like people, like I'm done trying to help the pipeline. Like, look, they
Okay,
can.
fair point. Okay,
Yeah,
I
like
got you. I
they
understand.
keep wanting to bleed money and not have any comprehensive staffing that is able to assist them with getting things out of the door on time and actually building a comprehensive team first party. Like, then to me, Microsoft is showing their incompetence. And I mean, that's ultimately on them, but it doesn't really seem to matter because, like I said, at the end of the day,
Mm,
if their fan base is telling them it's okay, they're going to keep doing exactly what they've been doing.
mm.
And that's what their fan
Okay,
base keep telling them.
okay. You, you, you
True.
and Priscilla are huge Bethesda fans. Well, the publisher. What's that?
What is that?
Not a man. What's
Okay.
going
Yeah, I don't know what
on?
that was.
Not a man.
That wasn't on my end.
I have no
I don't.
idea. I
It sounded.
apologize for that,
It
whatever
sounded like
that was.
somebody's kid. I don't have kids, so
Okay, maybe Zink. He muted himself.
yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. You are excited. You were excited for Starfield. After hearing what's happening, are you as excited? And the question remains: would you trust Bethesda or rather trust Microsoft? And if not, then are you still gonna give your money out to them? Go ahead.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm picking up Starfield on PC. I mean,
Mm,
the game's gonna come out not an entire mess. Like when people say stuff like that, like a lot of times they haven't seen the entire product, right? But regardless of the state that it ultimately releases in, um, between updates or whatever and the modding community, I have complete faith that I'm ultimately going to enjoy the experience I'll have with the game. I mean, the game's not just going to come out and be nothing just because it's missing this or it's missing that. Like, I mean, they've already recorded all the dialogue options. Like they've literally just been fine tuning the game this entire time, and it's a massive game, so that's understandable. But yeah, what everything that I've seen is perfectly in line with what I expect from Starfield. And like I said, I'm not worried about the performance or anything like that because I'll be playing it on PC. So yeah, I mean, I
that,
Yeah,
fully intend to
exactly,
play it.
so
exactly.
Yep.
and so you're banking on the modding community then.
No,
You're not
hold on. So don't mistake that for me thinking the game is going to release unplayable. The game is going to
okay.
release perfectly playable. It's going to be fine, as playable as any other game in a decent release state can be. Right? I definitely expect it to have bug the famous things, where maybe I hit an NPC and they fly 100 yards or something. But plenty of things that people think are like the most unplayable thing on the planet when it comes to Bethesda, and I've played them and been just fine. A lot of people hated Fallout 4. I didn't hate it. I just thought the writing was one of their weakest aspects in it, but the gunplay was improved. It was a lot better. Like there was a lot of stuff I loved about that game, and I played hundreds of hours into Fallout 4. Um, So that's why I said, like, ultimately, no. I think Bethesda knows the product they've been releasing for years. They're going to release a product about on par with that, with the modified creation engine. And, eventually, yeah, uh, I get to the point in all Bethesda games where I don't play them without modding them. Like Fallout 4, I still mod all kinds of ACRs and different character shapes and all kinds of stuff that they don't have. So it's not depending on it entirely, it's expected because that's just how that game thrives for me, which is largely why even if I had an Xbox, I would still pick it up on PC because even with consoles getting some form of mod support, it's always limited and it's always curated in what you can do and stuff like that. There is no limitation to the modding community on PC. So it's like, yeah, it's gonna start. I think the product I'll get out the gate will be perfectly playable. I'll enjoy it. I'll always give a raw playthrough without modding it, without going crazy,
So
because the
you
mods
so
take
you
time.
know this game is gonna come out. I'm just
Even
asking the question. You know
Mhm.
this game is coming out in a great state.
I think it'll be in a state that's acceptable for me, for what I know
even
Bethesda, for what
even
I know
even if you
Bethesda
just
is capable of. Like I'm sure
okay,
something
I've
something will
seen
something will not work. Like I can't say that about any other game, right? Like I played something not too long. Oh, I was playing Midnight Suns. I had to reload Midnight Suns like 22 times before I
mm,
figured out a way past a glitch that is not consistent, right? Like nobody else I know that's playing it ran into it,
mm,
but then I was playing it, and every time I would end the mission, it would knock me out to the main starting screen, and I would have to continue, and then it would lock me right back into the same loop, and then I would finish the mission and back to the starting screen. So like I had to reload and do the entire mission over from a separate save in order to get past it. So like that's what I'm saying. Like I almost expect to run into something like that every now and then, even in games, but that's not gonna, like, I still think that Midnight Suns is a really polished game so far. um that's just I understand the uniqueness of a lot of bugs, and the bigger your game is, the more potential it has for it. But I have no doubt that I'll be able to play it from start to finish. Like, yeah, like I have no
gotcha.
doubt with that.
So you don't believe Microsoft pressuring them is gonna put them in a worse taste?
I mean, pressuring them or not, they still delayed it again, so clearly they know, they at least know when, the time that's needed, basically. Like, I mean, they gave a delay. Now, if it's absolutely necessary, do I believe they'll delay it again? Sure. But I mean, of course they want it out by then, because so far it looks like they're going to have nothing out by then. Um at least nothing of that caliber. They don't have that big holy shit game, and honestly, it looks like Redfall is definitely not going to be it. That looks like the flavor of the month game. That's what I like to call those. They're the flavor of the month. They come out, people get really excited. They go, "I'm going to go home and play this with my homies," and and they do, and then the game disappears and no one talks about it. So yeah, like, I mean, do they want it out by then? Absolutely. And if it's, like I said, in at least a playable state where they feel like, hey, this can be released, and then whatever else is left we can work on or improve or this, that, and the third, then yeah, I think they will release it just fine. Now, if it's in absolute trouble, like that report tried to make it sound like, they're just, oh my god, like there's no way they're gonna do it, then we won't really know. I mean, but if it's that bad, I don't think they'll release it in the time frame. I think they'll go back for a fall or winter release, which would be disappointing for me because I really want it in June. So I hope not.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Weep, what's your thought?
Yeah, on Redfall.
Yeah, the whole thing with Redfall and Starfield, do you believe it's gonna be released unfinished or playable? Or do you think that Microsoft pressuring them is gonna screw them over, or do you think they will bounce back?
Well, I'd say like in Nate said, most Bethesda games released in a finished state as in a playable state, but will obviously have a lot of bugs. I mean, at this point, they're even using that sort of as their as a feature basically. Like you're expecting that from Bethesda games. So I would not be surprised if. I mean, I know that game, Starfield is going to be buggy, and Redfall. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna come in hot. I think that that's sort of the was leaked or speculated. Um, I mean, what I've seen, like I don't know if it's unfinished, as in this is just sort of what we can expect from Arcane. Like most of the games look like that. That they're not particularly uh, pretty to look at. And this is a multiplayer experiment. At least that's sort of what the impression that I've gotten from it. So they're probably not banking on this being the trip. Yeah, it's going to it's about maybe AAA in terms of budget, but not AAA in terms of how much money they're going to invest in making it look as good as it can be. Um, Whether or not it has anything to do with Microsoft pressuring them, I heard some rumors that Microsoft has also causing issues with Bethesda in terms of management pressure, etc., but not so much as with their games. Because if that were the case, indeed, yeah, then they wouldn't have delayed Starfield and potentially delaying it again. Then they would have just said, okay, yeah, fuck that, just release it hot, and we'll just say it's in Game Pass, so people will excuse it because it's so so-called free, right? Um, so I don't think that's necessarily the case, but I think this Bethesda is. I think they bought it also to more or less have that run itself, so they don't have to put any management on. I mean, it's a lot of studios under that umbrella, so it's already clearly too challenging for them to manage the studios that they have or have acquired so far that are not under another publisher. So yeah, I don't see. I don't think there's a lot of interference in terms of actually um, pressuring them to release games or making or interfering in the development of those games or in those studios. Aside from they have let go some people recently um, with Bethesda, and I think it could be in the future that that will increase um, because yeah they do have to fit in that Game Pass model. I think that's gonna could come back to bite them, but at this moment, I don't think it's. At least I don't see that. Right, I'm don't see any indication at the moment that they're particularly affected by uh, being owned by Microsoft. But the thing is, like going back to Hi-Fi Rush, like your argument was it was in development before they were acquired, so you don't want to give credit to Microsoft. I mean, it's up to you, but that's also kind of the thing with most of these games that Bethesda studios are working on. They were already in production, so most of these are already were already going to come out whether Microsoft bought them or not. So we don't really have like a baseline there in terms of okay, what's their output going to be? Uh, you know, now that they haven't acquired by Microsoft when they start something new. Um, Again, I don't think it's going to affect them per se in terms of um, how they develop their games, except for maybe how what the focus is going to be. But there might be, say, a reckoning in terms of at some point Microsoft might say, yeah, look, we don't want you to spend tens, hundreds, millions of dollars on a AAA experience. We want you to right size that for Game Pass. And maybe they'll decide, this studio is not really performing as well as they've recently done with some like 343 and yeah, also again Bethesda. that they might decide to close down a few to save money. Because in the end, despite Microsoft being one of the biggest companies in the world, money is still not infinite, and they still will close down and studios fire people and save money wherever they can because they're executives have to get their bonuses by meeting their targets for cost savings, etc.
Gotcha. Link, you here? Going once? Yeah, I thought so. He's the one with the kids. Okay. Oh, he's here.
No, I'm here. I'm here.
So,
Okay.
what you thought?
I mean, as far as Bethesda or
Yeah,
Microsoft,
so how Bethesda and Redfall and Starfield, do you think gonna be released in a good shape or bad shape?
I think it's gonna be in a not so great shape, but they'll fix it later. I mean, I think it'll be playable. I think there'll be lots of bugs and issues and things, but their motto is we can add it later. So that's what I see them doing. As far as Starfield, I don't give a shit about that game. Like, I don't like those Bethesda games. I think their gameplay is terrible. I don't like them. Um, so what's that? Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I've tried those games. I put hours and hours into them, and the gameplay loop is not for me. So I
Okay.
really don't care about it. Yeah, I don't care about that game at all.
Okay. Um, as for me, look, I truly believe both games are not gonna be, in a good space, cause Microsoft. And hey, if you believe in them, good on you. Enjoy. The final topic for tonight is going to be cringe in video games, and specifically, I'm targeting dialogue. Uh, and I will even add to it. No, that's for a different day than a different topic. Look, it's simple. Forspoken is now the latest, what you call it, game to be hate on. It's a fan favorite to hate on right now, especially for the cringe dialogue, which apparently it's a cringe dialogue if you are of disbelief that you are capable of shooting magic. If you are of disbelief of capable of believing that you just met an actual dragon, or you have come to a land where you know nothing about, and you gonna hear someone speak in a certain way that is foreign for you. Of course you're gonna be snarky about it. Of course you're gonna, poke fun out of it or react the way you're gonna react. And the question for me is, where was this when Borderlands became a thing? Like, Borderlands is the king of cringe, and I know it because I played it, all of them. You want you want more king of cringe? Nathan Drake, one of the cringiest motherfucker with some of his lines, and I love that
Uh,
game. All
yeah,
is to death.
we had that discussion, Omar, but I don't agree.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Cringe is subjective.
Well,
Well,
I think I'm a weeb. I disagree with what you said because there's like like slapstick humor and like haha that shit's funny, and like sometimes people don't think certain things are funny, but the only thing that I'll say about what I saw from that footage is that the dialogue doesn't surprise me because specifically you saying that's why I said I don't agree with what you're saying like with Nathan Drake and all that. It's written completely different, right? The stuff that I seen from from that reminds me of shit from like Devil May Cry and stuff. It's the Japanese style, you know, talk to myself and my sword kind of cringe shit that
Mm,
they write. So no, it's not surprising, but no, I don't think the cringe is comparable to something like, like the occasional shit that Nathan Drake says that might not be funny because I mean, I think whatever he has said fits his character well. Like I just think it looks out of place because sometimes honestly, the way her movement and stuff like that sounds like she's a hopped up Dante, but she's a 20-year-old black girl from New York. Like it's very it just doesn't fit doesn't feel like it fits the character sometimes, and I think that's what makes it more weird. Um it's where like I said, like if she never orients herself or acclimates, that would make it weird. Apparently, that's not a lot of it. Apparently, that's very cherry picked. So apparently she does, and she calms down. Like, but
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it's that people are mistaking it for all this other stuff, and it's not that we don't have other cringe dialogue and stuff. We do, but I'm saying what's written there. It's done from a Japanese developer, so I expect that Japanese weird, shit like literally throughout all of like Devil May Cry, they say shit like that. Like
And
just yeah.
there's one problem there. The writers were not Japanese.
Oh no, no, no. I'm not. I'm just
Mm.
saying the but creating it for a Japanese company though. I'm not saying that the writers are Japanese. I'm saying they're still, regardless, they're still having to go through approval
it,
and go
it,
through them to create the game for Square Enix. So yeah, I mean, I know the writers were not, but
Mm.
I'm saying like
I,
they
And-
may inadvertently take inspiration or whatever from stuff like that because
or
it
yeah,
reminds me of that.
or the might have. I don't know how free they were in writing because obviously I mean, I don't know how it works in gaming, but I have a bit of insight into how it works with movies. Like a lot of movies have producers, infinite producers who like want to rewrite entire movie,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing you can do about it. So a lot of
Nope.
movies that are terrible may have actually had a very good script at some point, and were just forced to yeah be rewritten by a producer or some executive from a production company, and that sort of is possible, though of course, yeah, like with some of those, like Amy Hennig, she was involved in this, and I know I mean, she's known from Uncharted, from the Legacy of Kain series.
Mm.
Uh, she knows how to write. So, but again, this might also I mean she's not the only one. So there might be sort of a a
A team.
decision made by committee, right?
Yeah.
Um, so you don't know, but I do think like it's like Omar, you said like it's subjective, but I also think you have a maybe a different definition of cringe than me and Nate have, because if something like sometimes like for instance, with Borderlands, um, could be cringe, but Borderlands is also trying to be cringe, and that it's not interesting enough, not cringe, because you're doing this on purpose. You're telling bad jokes on purpose, and that's essentially the brand of comedy that you're choosing. And I don't see Nathan Drake as being cringe. Like Nate said, it is indeed uh, depends on whether that fits at this point, and if it's jarring that the character is trying to maybe trying too hard to be something or representing something, or not hard enough, or it but what I've seen, like I can't judge the entire game based on that, and what the Rex said earlier, it's not the entire game like that. And I've seen also some piece of dialogue that I actually found funny. So uh, I think the game might have been too harshly criticized, but it doesn't mean that certain parts of the dialogue were cringe and don't deserve to be criticized. It's not that they're single out in
No,
particular, and
you
it's
know,
unfair, and everything is cringe. But
y-
I so I'm a bit in the middle there, right? I believe people are using it as ammunition, and are not really haven't played the game, or and are judging the game too harshly. But on the other hand, there's also some fair criticism to go by, and it's not that
here is
that
here
suddenly
is why
everything
there
is
isn't.
cringe.
Here is why
So
there isn't. Because it was a damn if you do, damn if you don't type situation. If she reacted normally to what's happening around her,
but,
people are gonna say, "How is she reacting normally?"
yeah, I don't agree with that, because there's uh, it's not a matter of how she reacts. Like, yes, she can of course react surprised, but you know it depends on what's written for what the lines are written for, and how she expresses that. And again, I'm not yeah, I'm not particularly pointing any particular set of dialogue that's cringe, but uh, I've seen some of it that does really feel well. I wouldn't say the label cringe does apply there, and merely it is a piece of dialogue, and you don't have the full context, so you could let's say be less cringe if you heard the entire bit, but so like I can understand what people see that and say that's cringe, and it doesn't. It's not necessarily the content of or what she's trying to convey, but how it is, like the process, right? And uh, yeah, that can be done well and it can be done poorly, and I think that when it's people think it's calling it cringe, it's done poorly. And that can be fair. It can be fair criticism. It's not necessarily that people are just saying that to hate on the game. Yes, some people are saying that
No,
just to
they
hate on the game, but it can, like, not every criticism is malicious or unfair. It can be fair. I mean, and what I've seen, yeah, I even in isolation, I could say that some of the dialogue is not very well written, um, but I like personally, I can't judge the entire game on that because I would have to play the entire game and see if this is like an exception. Is this consistently so? Does it get better later on, and so on? But and I have played games with really bad dialogue and managed to finish them. So like I have like played Rage 2, which had an awful story and awful dialogues, and but I had the fortunate option to skip everything, and I just you know played that game for the gameplay, and that can work.
gotcha. Um, to me, it here is what my issue with all of this. It's all about first of all, shout out to what's his name, Piper. He nailed it on the head. It's subjective. That's number one. Number two, and people are free to disagree with me on that front. It's all about selective hate. I have never heard of a single game that be a main character being cringe. When in fact there are many that are cringe. And yet they take it because it's part of the gameplay, or part of the story, or part of this, or part of that. But they can fight
Again,
with.
again though, Omar, what we've said, it makes more sense, right? Like Dante saying a bunch of hopped up, white boy looking rock star bullshit fits his character. So if it fits, it doesn't mean I'm not like, God, that was cringe. But I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it because that it fits the character.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
then the
so
top
so that's
should
the
be.
subjective part, right? Do you
Hmm.
think it fits? If someone thinks it fits her, cool, have at it. I've been to New York. I'm from New Jersey. I was born there. Like, I know what people sound like that are there. I know how they react to stuff. That's why I said
Hmm.
they keep going. Oh well, she's really young. Okay, so she's not a teenager. She's 21. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like I'm not saying that's not a really young person. It is, but like I said, like if I showed up and you met me at the airport and I was like, "Yo, what up, bro?" You'd be like, "Who the fuck is that?" That makes no sense. That's not me. That's not my character. You would think that was a fucking imposter picking you up from the airport. You'd be like, "Who the fuck is that?" Because you know me. That doesn't make any sense. It'd be cringe. It'd be fucking weird if I randomly showed up talking like a surfer dude from California. That's what I'm
Gotcha.
saying. Like it feels forced is what it is. Not you don't even have to call it cringe. Certain dialogue lines feel forced. And it's like if it feels forced, it's usually delivered badly. And that goes for
Mm,
movies and all that stuff too. Like I've seen movies where someone is trying to be a gangster versus someone who naturally has like the inclination. It's like certain people, certain movies and stuff you see, everybody knows that one or two actor that is a cop in every movie. You know why they're a cop in every movie? Because it fits their whole demeanor, right? They're like inherently just they have this vibe to them that fits what being a cop or a detective or whatever is, which is why a lot of them play that role in a bunch of different things. So that's the part where I say I think, and like I said, it's not the whole thing because none of us have played the whole thing, but I'm saying in the parts that they selected, particularly the one like I that everybody's seen that would sounded the worst to me when she's like first shocked when she's like I can move shit with my mind. The way she says it sounds like some white dude in college that like just smoked his first bud. Like she's completely oblivious to the thing talking to her, the cuffs talking to her, and it's just fucking weird. Like it's like she's ignoring him on purpose, and it sounds forced. Like, and he's literally talking to her the entire time, and it's just like it's just weird. So that it's weird. Is this all? Like you don't have to call it cringe. You call it a bunch of different stuff. It's just weird. Cause I'm like the first thing I'm doing if I'm locked into this new world, and this thing is talking to me, we're gonna have a conversation. I'm not going. I'm definitely not going to ignore the thing that is helping me, and you can be shocked. I get it.
I feel
Um,
you, but would you not
it's
be,
weird.
literally focusing on what you just did?
What are you talking about?
Like, let's say
No, no, no.
you
Okay, that's
move
the part you're
stuff with
missing.
your
You
mind.
are focused. She is focusing on what she just did. I'm saying she's freaking the fuck out, and I'm like, at some point, you need to get a grip. Like, that's all I'm saying. Is like, at some point, if she's like that the entirety of it, like, and freaking out the entire time, like, no, like, in that particular instance, the way the line was delivered, sound force.
Mm,
It's not because she's doing that. It's how she's doing that. You see what I'm saying? Versus like we
yeah.
just had this whole conversation with like The Last of Us, right? And Troy Baker goes, man, that was such a cool thing, the way they interacted in that moment. And he was like, oh, I wish I would have done what Pedro Pascal did in that one moment. You see what I'm saying? Like they're
Mm,
edging the level. There's levels to acting and portraying a character and delivery of lines. We know this
mm,
because we had a whole conversation about why didn't he say everybody and their mom had the same damn idea or whatever. We
mm,
both we both were like that shit in the game sounds way better than what he
mm-hmm.
said in the thing. But we also
Yep.
talked about other lines that he delivered well. That's the difference. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm,
Those slight
okay.
differences, tone, how you say it, how you do it. Everybody, what did everybody focus on in the first episode? How much he sounded like Tommy on the phone, right? Like because it was delivered so well, and it was like, dang, you sound just like him. Because it sounds just
Mm,
like something Tommy would say. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like if it fits the character. But like I said, in my case, you know me, so you would think like I said, if I showed up talking like some West Coast surfer white boy, like that would be super weird. Especially if you had never met me in real life yet, and I showed up and picked you up at the airport talking like that, you would think like I was high or I was drunk or something else because that does not fit my personality.
mm. Was it fair then to say this is a quality control thing then?
I mean,
Because
I personally think so because the fact that people say it doesn't fit the rest of it, and they feel like a lot of their other dialogue is fine and handles itself pretty well. Like I think so because I've seen another part where she's scared when they're kind of coming at her because she's new, she's still new at this, and she's scared, but then she sounds scared. It sounds believable. It fits the role the character is supposed to be playing. Like no, 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 like I don't want to die. Like why would you kill me? Like it fits the role of someone in this foreign land who's afraid because these people are literally talking about murdering you just because you showed up. Like
Mm-hmm.
to me, it fit. It was an appropriate level of scaredness. Like to me, that's the actor or actress's job to portray the line well, and then quality control is important. Like they talked about it with Christopher Judge and stuff when he was like, I had to go in the booth and do an hour and a half. He might have done certain lines over and over and over and over. It's up to the sound engineer and the people listening to this to go, yeah, that's it. That's how we want it. So yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think it's a quality control issue.
Gotcha. Link, what is that?
Yo, so as far as this Forspoken and that, I think people are being a little overly critical of this game. To be honest with you, I've been gaming for a long time, and I've heard some cringe dialogue. I've heard some good I mean, I've heard all kinds of different dialogue. I don't know. I've been playing the game and I've been enjoying it. Nothing's taking me out of the game. I really don't have an issue with the voice actor. It's a video game, man. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not Shakespeare. So I'm not having no issues. I don't care about anybody else's opinion. I don't care about the masses that are overly critical. I mean, there's a at some point it's kind of dogpiling on the game. You know what I mean? Like it's fun to hate this shit, and I just think it's just ridiculous.
That's
But
how
to
fun,
me,
man.
yeah, I like the game. I'm not seeing. Maybe I'm just not seeing what other people are seeing, but to me, I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it. The dialogue is good to me, so I don't have no issue.
And see, to his point, right? That's fair, right? Because remember, I told you how big of a fan I am of Fire Emblem. But remember, I told you I'm also understanding that in the
Hmm.
case of a lot of people that played Fire Emblem Three Houses, it was their first Fire Emblem, right? A ton
Right?
of people. And I was like, it's not a bad game. It's a good game on its own. But me, versus in this case, because this game has a history, Fire Emblem's literally been going since the 90s. And I've been playing it since Game Boy Advance.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things that I know that are consistent through Fire Emblem, and there are certain things that I know are like. Remember, I told you each one kind of has its own quirk, or dark versus light, dragons versus sorcerers, whatever they choose to do, or however they choose to change it, right? And I told you before it came out, I said, watch, people are going to not like or have an issue with the new one that have only played Three Houses because they think that this is how Fire Emblem works, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it happened. The reviews came out, and people were like, "Oh, it's not quite what Three Houses was. It's not this. It's not. They got rid of this from Three Houses. I don't like that. It's not like Three Houses. I don't." Every comparison was to Three Houses, which is how you can tell who has played the other Fire Emblems versus this. And
I
what
would
I
have been.
yeah, and what I
Uh,
say to that,
right.
right, is people thought the writing, some people who it was their first, thought the writing in Three Houses was good. But talking to my friend who's played the franchise as long as me, we knew that it was one of the worst in all the series history because we've
Uh-huh.
played all the rest of them. So we know how high tier the writing can really be.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in its isolation, if all you've played is Three Houses and you don't tend to play RPG story driven type games, um, that are surrounded like that are grounded within the world of something like Fire Emblem, a lot of people, guess what? They thought it was good. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's different things to it because it depends on your experience with stuff. So someone is going to think something is good, and some people are going to think some things are bad, and some people are just going to be completely unbothered because that's just who they are. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's always levels to it, right? But the key thing for me personally is to be as objective as possible. Now, like I said, Link is playing the game, and I believe what Link is telling me is true because that is Link's perspective, right? So my thing when I play it is to be as objective as possible. That's like Mario, right?
Sure.
I told you I hated, and I mean hated every single second I played Mario Odyssey. I could not stand that game. It was
Mm-hmm.
fucking terrible. But objectively, I believe it's a solid 8 out of 10, and
Hmm.
everyone that enjoyed it honestly.
So you're capable of putting your own opinion aside for factual information.
Oh, of course, of course.
Hmm.
But yeah, to be
So,
fair, one of the
so
most subjective things in all of entertainment is writing. Because someone really, really loves a book, and other people are like, that book was terrible. So,
I feel you.
yeah.
If so here's the thing with well, shout out to Morgan. She said a black girl wasn't react like that. So then,
Well, yeah. See. This is the conversation me and Morgan had. Like and this is the thing we do this, and I'm gonna tell you where it comes off as well. When black people in scary movies do things that we know they wouldn't do, because there's just a level, there's just a certain level to it, right? Like,
that's how you know they're acting.
yeah, yeah, we're like, oh, that's weird. Why would they do that? Like, that's clearly how
Hmm.
they wrote that, but that's bad because you know,
Stigma.
everybody with, like I said, grew up. You know, we are both me and Morgan are black, so we're like, our first reaction is everybody we know that's black, including ourselves, throughout our entire lives. And I'm I'm saying I'm 36, bro. I'm my entire family. Like, I know tons of people throughout my time, and certain things, they're just certain things. Like, I gave an example. I asked somebody one time. I said, "How many black people are in the movie Cliffhanger?" I was like, "I'll wait," and I was like, "None." You know why? Because that is historically accurate. Not saying that there isn't some black person out there that is going to rock climb or go ice climbing. Someone's gonna do it, but the majority of people who go ice climbing just happen to not be black. It's just not something that you tend to do. Like,
Hmm.
that's what I'm saying. So, like, when you see reactions and certain things like that, or like, I personally, like I said, know people from New York. Like, I know how people from New York react to a situation where they're out of their element, and it's like they're gonna react like a New Yorker. Like, it's a very specific thing. Trust me. When you know people from New York, they act a certain way, and you could tell. Like, especially like both me and Morgan, we live in the South, right? Anybody who's from New York or something, you immediately know who they are. They're very loud. It's a very specific a very
Yeah,
specific
yeah, yeah.
MO. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could tell
I'm
you
from the south.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And
I'm from
see,
the south. Yeah,
and you got like more of a calmer demeanor, right? It's like a whole thing.
yeah.
Like we both do. Like, I mean, I'm from Jersey, but I grew up in North Carolina, so I'm more like that, right? Um so they laugh at me, like, some of the things that we say in the South, like y'all. You know what I mean? Like, someone from up north is not gonna really say the word y'all, because that's not. They're like, why would you say that? Like, like,
Hmm.
or something, other slangs that are from up north, right? Like, I died when my brother came back from Jersey after being up there for over a year, and he was like, "Yo, I need to use the jack," and I was like, "What the hell is that?" He's talking about the phone jack, but that's not something it wasn't a slang that came to the South. So these are just little nuances, right? That when you physically know people from there, and that's why I said it was very odd. And then when something there's certain things that are area based, and then there's certain things that are like more race based, right? Like, or like an area, like someone who grew up in India, right? Is going to be like, if the typical person who grew up in India is going to react this way, because in India we learned this in school, or in India we grew up doing this, so they're going to do this. So if the person doesn't react that way, it's going to seem off, right? Like, no one black in a horror movie should ever suggest we should split up and look for clues. Like, no. That's the first thing we should do is stay together and get the hell up out of here. That's what we should do. We're not gonna hear a noise and be like, "Oh my god, honey, I'm gonna go investigate. Why don't you stay right here?" Like, no,
Okay.
but like, if the movie is meant to be funny, and we're
Hmm.
like, okay, clearly this is a haha funny moment, then it's like, okay, cool, it fits. Like, because the whole goal of this movie is to be funny, and they're gonna do the opposite of what people would do in real life. And I think that's kind of where the weird disconnect comes from sometimes. And like I said, at
Hmm.
the same time, just because we notice it doesn't mean it's going to bother everyone. Because some people are going to be completely unbothered by everything. Um, but some people are more nuanced. Like, one of the things that I told you, attention to detail is something that I am super into, right? And some developers are too, like PlayStation developers specifically have a heavy hand in that, right? So when you hold the weapon, the way you hold the weapon in The Last of Us 2, for instance, is completely different the way Abby holds it versus the way Ellie holds it. Their hand
Mhm.
sizes are different. All these little different things, right? So when you get into detail like that, you're going to notice these nuances or these differences. That's the
Mhm.
version of a visual difference versus like Morgan had said in the chat. She's like, well, she knows and has been around, is one and knows black women in her life, and she's like, black people don't react that way. It's like
I have a
it's like I
question.
told you, like the surfer dude thing. I'm never going to sound like one. And if
Mm,
you ever interacted with me and I was sounding like that, you would literally know something was wrong immediately, right?
mm,
You'd be like, what's wrong with you, Nate? Why are you what are you doing? Are you impersonating someone? Like
mm,
that's what it sounds like an impersonation.
mm.
You know what I mean?
I have a question. Have you ever, and this goes for all the black people in here, including you, Morgan and Viper, have you guys ever thought to yourself, no black character would talk like that in Forbidden West? Because to me, Forbidden West is truly the pinnacle when it comes to black character.
It is. It absolutely 100% is. And that is a good example of doing it the right way, right? Where it does fit, where it fits so well, it was scary. And it's like
It was,
and like I
it
told you,
was.
it's like some of these people sounded like somebody's uncle in Louisiana telling a story on the porch. It's a very specific vibe. It takes a very specific person to deliver that line. Like
Oh, sorry, I
yeah.
forgot, Viper. I truly forgot. Sorry about that.
But yeah, that is a good example of it fitting, right? Where you get in and it's like, oh wow, yeah, that's perfect. That was dang, that was so good. Who was that? You know what I mean? It's like when someone delivers that line and it's the part, it fits the part in a very very specific way, and it's not just that, right? Um, a perfect example I'm going to give you of history as far as cinema, right? I saw the movie The Blind Side, right? It's a movie with Sandra Bullock where she plays the mother of a child that she basically adopts, right? And her child, the child she adopts, is black, right? Um, but the way she played it, right? And I'm not the biggest Sandra Bullock fan in the first place. Like I think she's cool. I think she was always a pretty solid actress. But something about this performance transcended anything I had ever seen from her. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I felt like by the end of that movie, she was his mother. You see what I'm saying? She wasn't Sandra Bullock. She was that mother in that like she played the shit out of his she
Oh, she was only 15 years old, right? Or 5?
huh?
Are you talking about that line?
No, not like a specific line. I'm just saying
Okay.
but she in the movie, she just portrayed, she fell into that role. She was no longer Sandra Bullock. You see what I'm saying? She was that boy's mother in that
Mm-hmm.
role. That's how I felt after I got to the end of the movie. Like when you see people, and it was funny because I said, I bet you she's gonna win Actress of the Year. And I don't even like those type of movies. That was on top of that, and I
And did
love
you
that
win?
movie. And she won. She won that year.
Oh, good, cool, cool,
That's
cool,
what I
cool, cool.
mean when I say it's up to the quality control, the actress, and for the people directing the actress and how they want the line delivered.
Okay.
That's the key.
So then, the actress herself,
Hmm.
could she have not caught it that she is not acting the way a black person would act? Because, she is black herself.
Yeah,
Should
yeah,
she have not said anything about it?
well, the problem could be though, right? A lot of the times, what happens when they're in the booth, they're being directed, right? So they're being directed how they should act. Hey, in this part, she's really that I'm gonna describe to you. Hey, you're gonna play this person, and remember, you might not have even seen them, right? I'm just gonna describe the scene to you. You just got thrown into this world. You're freaked out, but then you discover something really cool, and that you see what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to describe a feeling to you, so that when
Mm-hmm.
you speak the lines on the paper in front of you, you portray a specific way that you feel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes it actually really hard, right? Um, this again comes back to it's a combination effort, right, between her and you know the people that are directing the scene. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you work with some really top end people who are just going to make you much better, right? So to her thing, from what I understand, this was like her first, right? Like a lot of people will tell you like acting and then acting in the booth is way different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the girl doing like Abby's like struggle when in one, I forgot where you seen it at. I think they did like a documentary or something later, but she's explaining and like they show her in the booth, and instead she's not just making the noise, she's physically like putting her fist against each other, like fighting as if she is struggling herself in the booth to create the actual sound of the struggle. You see what I'm saying?
Which game?
This was for The Last of Us 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's like physically struggling. They show her on camera, like she's like, you know, "Ah, ah." It's like that's why when it happens in the game, it lines up with the character and looks and feels
Mm,
real.
okay.
And I think
Got you.
that's the disconnect, right? Where it's like the level of energy or the reaction doesn't match the tone that kind of fits or aligns with the character or
Mm,
that you feel, right? Because again, subjective, right? Somebody might be completely oblivious to what I'm talking about, so their subjective view of the character's reaction doesn't seem off to them. But that's why I said when it's done really well to someone like me who does have a lot of experience with the particular subject or something like Forbidden West, that's why you get that huge outpouring of just, the black community and black gamers that were like, damn, this is impressive. Because that's when you really know you hit it. You know what I mean? That's the difference.
okay, I
Yeah, I
got
know
you.
it's complicated. There's a it's what you call nuanced.
Nah,
There's a lot of nuance to it.
uh, I am not black. Remember? I mean, you already know.
Well, no,
What was
but hey, but for you though, right?
no?
What did you notice immediately in The Last of Us? You noticed
The
the Lebanese the Lebanese flag thing
oh,
in the
yeah,
show, and you
yeah,
go, oh yeah, she would definitely. Oh man, the way she reacted, that was definitely like that. Or you see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because you
yeah.
know Lebanese people. You know what I mean? You would know.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Lebanese people don't play that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you would know
She felt something is wrong. She's like, yeah, get rid of her very quick. We're closing. We're out of here. That was her
exactly,
reaction. Uh,
exactly.
to me, I felt that with Forbidden West, what you call it, black characters like the nanny. I will always go back to the nanny. I know it's basic,
Hmm.
but it's the easiest to identify. You actually felt talking to a nanny,
Yeah.
and she felt real. Like it's eerie. It's that scary, dude. Um. Okay. Yeah. It's interesting. This is genuinely a great conversation because it's no longer about a cringe. It's
Yeah,
more about the line delivery itself and also the quality of control of it. That clearly
exactly.
for some reason was lacking. See, now we're having a genuine conversation. Now it's no longer cringe
Yeah.
and not cringe.
Yeah, like I said, it's genuinely all about just the different perspectives, right? Like, I mean, we've all, I guess, a really good example that people have that everyone has heard someone rap before, right? Um, and you've heard the difference of someone doing it bad, and you've heard someone who has what they call good delivery, right? Um, so like, you might not have seen the specific one, so I won't use that one, but um, well, yeah, I could say it, but you don't have to see it. But basically, Hip Hop Gamer had put out like a whole rap, right? And it was good, and it was a long time ago. And then Marlon Gaming tried to imitate it, and and it was terrible. He was completely offbeat. His delivery was terrible, and it made it sound like the worst thing you'd ever heard. And
Mhm.
But if you go back and you listen to Hip Hop Gamer's version of it, it sounded like a professional level song, somebody who really knew what they were doing. That's the difference, right? That's the difference in how you do things. That's why certain people they're like, "Oh, I like the version of the way this person rapped it, or I like the way this person sung it," right? Their rendition of it. A popular thing on YouTube, right, is covers, right? Covers of songs. I've heard covers of songs that I like better than the original person who sung the song.
Mm-hmm.
Like again, delivery, how you did it, the tone that they chose. They might have
Mm-hmm.
slightly changed the tempo. All that stuff is your delivery of the line,
Mm-hmm.
and that works with speaking too. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man,
Got
it's good stuff.
anyone beside Nate? Anyone have anything else to say about this topic? And would you guys agree with the Nate? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Okay. As for me, it was a very interesting conversation to have. I agree with almost like 90% of what you said. And the only thing that not I disagree with, but I want to add is clearly they're not hating on it because of the quote unquote cringe dialogue. They just needed a reason to hate on it.
Yeah, so I mean, some people definitely just gonna hate to hate. I mean, obviously, I mean, we already know how that is. We've seen some
Yeah,
of the best games release
precisely.
of all time, and seen people just hate on it, and then they haven't even played it. So
Yeah. Thank you for that long but interesting explanation. Like, I truly enjoyed that. And we actually had a dialogue about it, a conversation about it.
I
It
agree.
wasn't simply good or bad. There was an actual conversation to have, and I enjoyed that. And with that being said, let's get to our outros. And let's have someone have anything else they want to talk about.
Yeah,
Going
I
once,
think we're good
twice,
to go.
thrice. Yeah. Let's start with Weeb. Where people can find you.
You can find me on Twitter as the Weep Sheriff at Infinite Rhizome. Well, I guess here on YouTube as well, and Other Nation.
Got you. Link, where people can find you.
They don't need to find me. But thanks for allowing me to be on the show again. Like
You're always
always.
welcome, dude.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. I got on late, but thanks for letting me come on here and talk shit with you guys and everything
You're
else. So
always
thank you.
welcome.
No doubt.
Thank you.
Zarek, where people can find you. Okay. Is he not here anymore? Give me a second. I have no.
Yeah, he left.
Okay, so yeah. Sorry, I have no access. I am using my laptop and it does shit. And eight, where people can find you.
Yeah, just on Twitter at the real innate. Um, as usual, just keeping it gaming.
Got you. And before people can find me, shout out to Viper Reap at Viper Corner. Shout out to what you call it, Shield Bandit, aka Morgan. Shout out to Kay, and happy birthday to Persona. His birthday is today, so feel free to go say happy birthday to him. Give me a second, my okay, there you go. Also, shout out to Sea Fresh. Shout out to uh, Stardust, and shout out to Unfi Unfidelity. What is the name? Shout out to Steve, a new Steven. Sorry, Steven. Shout out to Priscilla, and of course, shout out to Craig, the tech guy. And I think we got. Oh yeah, of course, we. I see we. Yeah, I think I got everyone. At people find, but as for me, people can find me at Carb_Jab on Twitter and and game player, yeah, of course here, and Vitamin G podcast every Monday 5 p.m. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time. This was a great show, and thanks again to Innate for hosting. Hopefully, I will be back next week, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna host next week because I have an issue I need to fix.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
My audio is looping, so we will see. But again, thank you again, Innate, for hosting, and feel free to end the stream right now.
Yeah, and one time for the girls because they're not here. Outer Nation.
Oh yeah,